Welcome, everyone. It is so nice to have you joining us into today's session. This is agent-led trainings. This is a session where we actually rely on, well, our top agents to learn from them. How did they do it? Why did they do it? And really, sometimes they even go and they open up that little bag of theirs and they share a couple of their tricks. These little tricks that have helped them to get to the top status. And joining me today is Cap Agent, which is always an amazing thing to get because she earns that 96% commission. I know we're all going, 96% commission? That's amazing. So welcome onto this particular call is Ashleigh Rodda. Ash, how are you doing? And first up, what does it feel like just to be a cap agent?
Well, being a part of eXp is a privilege already. So when they set you targets and you achieve them, of course you feel good about it. Because my objective into coming into eXp was to leverage the amazing opportunities. So once you're doing that, you feel a sense of fulfillment. So already we're ticking that off the list, but I've got fantastic colleagues that are setting the bar high. So they're already giving me other milestones now, which is fantastic. So capping is just the beginning.
Brilliant. I love that because, becoming a cap agent is so important. But let's rewind the clock a little bit because, it's always nice to talk about the celebrations and the successes, but there's a journey that you've traveled. Who was Ash before real estate? Because you weren't just born as a real estate agent, you had a life prior. Who was Ash before then?
Sure, good question. So Ash was a dreamer always and still is. So she always thought and knew she would have her own business ventures. And I didn't know what I would study when I was young because I had so many diverse interests. Funny enough, even dabbled in law and thought a bit about architecture, but I always loved the creative side of things. And I ended up going into graphic design as formal studies. So my background is the marketing, graphic side of things, but I'm a people's person. So I had a bit of a challenge because traditional graphic design, and there's my fellow graphic designer sitting with us today, Melanie. But yeah, the thing about graphic design is that you're sitting a lot behind a computer. And as a young entrepreneur in South Africa, I felt like I was getting a lot of clients who had wheelbarrow budgets, but Ferrari dreams. And all I was doing all day was sitting in front of a PC and not seeing my loved ones and not having balance. And as a young mom, so a mom with starting to have kids, I craved flexibility. And one of my friends said to me, Ash, you would be so good in real estate. Why don't you come and look at this brand with us? So I got into a traditional agency that was over a decade ago. And I still consider myself an entrepreneur. So I don't limit myself. I don't put myself in a box as just a real estate agent. I think that God gives us lots of gifts and he pulls us into ventures and into projects and assignments in life that tick all those boxes. I don't know if you want me to carry on about how I got into eXp.
Well, yeah. let me actually, I'm going to jump in here because I love the way that you've actually brought in that you're an entrepreneur. Because it's something that I advocate all the time, especially to new people that come into real estate. Stop thinking that you're a real estate agent because then you're in that proverbial box. What must I do? I need to do a listing. What must I do after that? Take a buyer through. You're very much in this regimental way. But when you change your mindset to be an entrepreneur in the real estate space, all those walls just fall down and you start thinking much wider, which is exactly, and I'm glad because it's one of these traits I'm seeing with so many top people, top agents that I speak with. They're all entrepreneurs and they just happen to be in this real estate space, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, so real estate is exciting and I'm genuinely passionate about it and I love being in it. And I love what you just said. So I think when we think out the box, we don't limit what can come across our table. And already just today, I had a conversation with someone who has been knocking on my door and I wasn't making time for them because I was being single-minded about what I needed to do last year and I couldn't service everyone, which I'll touch on just now. But this particular person, I think, is going to open up doors, maybe potentially around Africa. And you never know how it will pan out. And eXp has put us in the most incredible position now where we can leverage that international connection and that reach. So yeah, as an entrepreneur, I love the eXp brand. I'm coming from a traditional real estate setup where I respected and grew to love the industry, and I could see the pitfalls of how the industry was working in South Africa. And I was looking for a vehicle where I could be more investment minded, because that, going back to the entrepreneur way of thinking. I actually, in this time period of real estate, I did 3 years of Bible college. And in the third year, they actually asked us to think, where can we be positioned in society to make the biggest impact? And for me, I really felt like my calling is in business. And I need to be positioned right to make an impact. And I was looking for a vehicle that ticked those boxes, and traditional agencies weren't doing that for me.
And I'm glad that you bring that up, because, when we go through our entrepreneurial journey, the one thing that we don't want is barriers. We don't want to have any form of restrictions. And with you having the experience of being in a traditional office where probably Monday morning meetings, you've got to be there at 8 o'clock, you've got to be there, you've got to bring me a listing, you've got to do this, you have all of these kind of barriers that be put in front of you that can actually restrict your growth. And now you've almost answered the question, but this migration from traditional to eXp, was it an easy transition, or was it a transition where you went, oh, finally, I feel I can breathe? Talk to me through that transition from traditional into this eXp entrepreneurial space.
Okay, so I was already flexing my muscles. I already felt like I needed to transition somehow, and I was seeking something. And I thought that my answer would be involved in running my own business. So about 5 or 6 years back, I started a small independent here in Pretoria East with 2 other women. So we left a traditional agency, which was franchise based and was reputable. And we joined another small independent for a short season, and that didn't satisfy us. And then we started our own company, and we thought, this is it. This is how we're going to break free and structure things in a way, like Glenn Sanford says, in a way that suits an agent. We can gear it around what an agent needs. But I fooled myself, because I just basically exchanged different tasks. And being in charge of now an agency required different activities, different obligations. And I was just drowning in paperwork. I wasn't on the ground actually doing the things I love, which is with the people, solving their real estate solutions. I was running a company, which is lovely, but we were working ourselves to the bone, and we had no leverage. And I did a brave move. I stepped down from my shareholding, and for 3 months, I humbled myself, and I actually told my partners, you run this, I'm rethinking things. And I was open to opportunities. And I think when you're open, things can come across your path. And just now, I'll tell you, if time permits, that I believe in connections. I believe in people. And I think it was a divine connection, because through my pastor, who happened to be interviewed, he was put on stage by Rory at the Build Africa conference. It was like 3 years ago, right in the beginning. They sent out an emailer, and somehow I got onto Steve's email list, because Steve's brilliant like that. And I looked at this and I thought, why is my pastor, why is he talking at this real estate conference? And it piqued my interest. And then I looked at the model, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is what I have been praying about and thinking about for 3 months while I stepped down from running a company. And I was open to the opportunity. And once I saw the model, I knew. Then I made the decision, and it was quick.
Yeah. Once that transition comes in, and it's almost like instead of your wings being plucked, they were actually massaged and let to grow.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. The journey of life was actually put in front of you, not by choice, but by opportunities. And that's exactly the thought process of an entrepreneur as they're going forward. Now, I was very interested. You mentioned in the beginning, graphic design.
Yeah.
Having that type of kind of background really helps you when it comes into marketing. Because I know that I've had agents that say, hey, Stuart, I've just created the social media post. Would you look at it before I put it out on social media? And I look at it and I'm going, please don't. Please don't. Please don't. And we almost have to pull it together. They want to pull in paragraphs of words. They want to overload the image where it is so busy that it actually is unappealing.
Yeah.
So when you actually start looking at marketing, and with your background, and this is for, Ash to look in her bag and go, okay, I'm going to share this one because I know it really works. And well, I'm a giving person. What marketing strategy has really, really worked for you that our agents could say, hey, I could do that, and actually create this collaborative environment of this marketing strategy being unraveled? What is it that's working for you?
Okay. I could touch on something practical, and I could touch on something a bit more like esoteric, in a sense that I want to talk about mindfulness and being the person that people can relate to, because we're still in an industry where it's person-to-person contact. And I find my biggest weapon in marketing is being an authentic individual that people can relate to. So I am first and foremost my marketing tool. And I think agents forget that. They get overwhelmed by all the tools out there. And isn't it exciting that we are part of now a disruptive brand that gives us all these tools that we have at our disposal? But I know that agents coming into the business can get overwhelmed, and they're like, I need to upskill. I suddenly need to learn how to be like a graphic designer in Canva, and I need to do all of this stuff. So I think, just like you touched on, simplicity is key. Do the basics right. You've got incredible templates at your disposal. So I would say, don't resist, don't fight against the CI, which is your corporate identity. That is the branding of eXp. Embrace it. eXp's just done a branding exercise. So eXp has done the heavy lifting as far as what their look and feel is, what their personality. Whenever you have a marketing campaign, the brand asks themselves, what is our personality? What do we want to communicate to the consumer? So you're communicating the brand personality, and eXp has done the heavy lifting for you, but you're also communicating your own personality. So for me, yes, I've used my natural skills with graphic design. So when I put visuals together, they're visually appealing, and I honor the branding of eXp. I don't try and reinvent the wheel. And I'd encourage agents to go and use the templates that are at their disposal, and don't try and reinvent things. Just be consistent. Work out what looks brilliant for you. I mean, there isn't like a clear-cut way. There isn't like only one way that you can market yourself, but work out what looks best for you in your area, and then you put your face there and you put the eXp brand, and you be consistent. Tips practically. So I love to reach out to people on WhatsApp. We're in a very busy day and age, and people respond to visuals, but they also respond to your tone of voice. So I know people can get tired of long voice notes, so I keep it short and sweet. But when I'm introducing myself to someone for the first time, I send them a very quick introduction, and they can hear my tone. They can hear the warmth and the friendliness and the authenticity in my voice. And then I always follow up with my business card or a beautifully designed little image that just shows them I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing. And if you have your WhatsApp, which is what South African consumers are primarily using, if you have it set up, don't leave it as an afterthought. Have your WhatsApp set up so that your profile has links on it. It has references to the things that you've done, the properties that you've sold. It's a little visual smorgasbord that someone clicks on your profile. They've seen you for the first time. They've got this friendly voice that's just said hello to them. They can see just a beautiful little professional advert underneath. And then they go, let's just check out this person. Oh, wait, her profile does back up everything that she's saying. Everything is there. There's links to the eXp website, which is reputable, and there's links to all your adverts, and they can see testimonials or whatever you've sold. I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. And, I love that authenticity, because you're 100% correct. We're actually not in the business of selling properties, by the way. I know most people go, what? I thought I was in real estate. No, you're in the business of building relationships. That is your business. In fact, your product is the relationship. Your brand is you. When you meet somebody, it's having that conversation. It's them recognizing you and actually going, hey, I want to speak with Ash. Actually, I'm looking forward to having that conversation with Ash because she actually gives me something that's authentic. She's not coming and saying, hey, I want to sell your home. List it now. This is the commission, and being very forceful in that particular manner. So that authentic branding is actually so, so key. Now, I know that when you're going through this process, and when you can get to that authentic level, it feels good. People recognize you. People kind of say, yes, you know what, Ash, I am extremely comfortable. I trust you. I want to list my property with you. And I know in the beginning of any relationship that we have with a particular seller to list their particular properties, it always sounds fantastic. But then there's always these little challenges. There's these little things that pop up in front of us where we go, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why did I take this listing? And
Yeah.
this can actually start to build and build. And I know for a number of younger or rookie agents, they take a listing, they're excited to take the listing, and then they go, oh, this is why everybody else hasn't taken the listing. And then they sit there.
Yeah.
What do you do to overcome those situations? And if you've got anyone to reflect on, please do. But how do you overcome those situations?
Okay, so yeah, we all have had those regret listings where you're like, my goodness, what did I get myself into? And I think in the beginning, when you are making a transition, the mistake that you can make is that you're just hungry and you take on everything. And I know that you, the one guy, are very good about telling people, find out your why and that one thing that you can focus on, and then be good at that and also be single-minded. And I think that it sounds like quite a simplistic thing to say to people, but there's posture in it, because a new person coming into the industry, they don't have posture because they don't have self-belief yet. But at eXp, we are quality agents. eXp attracts quality agents, and we need to believe in ourselves. And when we're going to a client, especially if our hearts are aligned right, because I love people and I want to be solution orientated for them, and my heart is to see the best for them. And if that is what I'm offering them and I'm giving them the best product, then I can posture myself right. So when I go and mix with people, we don't want to be yes men and just say yes and tickle their ears just because we're hoping that we're going to get the listing. Which our industry is renowned for. Agents say yes, and then later they apologize and say, well, and come up with all the reasons why it's not selling. We want to price it right, and I think prep time is never wasted time. So if we don't know what the price of a property is or the area, we've got tools at our capability. We've got peers we can lean on. I hate CMAs. They drive me nuts because it requires so much effort, but it pays off when you price a house right. So I've been burnt where, let's say I'm trying to help someone that I know well, and I feel honored that they've come to me. And then I pitch up at the meeting, and instead of me leading the discussion, I let them start to lead. And they start to tell me what price they want. And they start to tell me all the reasons why it should be this price and all the rest of it, which we're supposed to be good listeners. But we should come ready with our research and our stats. We should know when we walk in that door how we are going to counsel them and how we're actually going to help them see what's best for them, not to manipulate them and persuade them for our advantage. It's for everyone to win, because a house that's not priced right is going to frustrate everyone. So yeah, my biggest regrets is just saying yes to people because I care for them, but we end up having a property that just won't sell because it's not priced right. Obviously, all of us agents want trust from our buyers, from our sellers as well, and our buyers, of course. We're going to have to earn that trust over time. And if we can get an exclusive upfront, that's amazing. And we have to upskill. We have to get good at telling our sellers the benefits of why they can trust us. You don't run to 10 accountants when you need to file your books with SARS. You have that one trusted person that does your books. And we should be having posture when we meet with people and explain to them why they should be dealing with us alone in the beginning. And if they're working with someone at eXp, they're not working with an island. They're working with someone who's prepared to collaborate. I work with other agents. So that seller is not limited. We're never going to push work away. They don't even need to be scared in that regard. So the best properties are the ones where I have posture, where I've gone in armed, and I work smart about my why. And that goes back to the one guy. It's what is your why? So do you want to be in the luxury market? Do you want to be in this particular bracket? Do you want to work in your area right close to you? Do you want to save time? Or do you want to run yourself ragged and take every lead around Gauteng and waste all your petrol and arrive at that client only to find that they're having a divorce and maybe they're not so keen on buying because both parties aren't in agreement?
Absolutely. And you hit one little point there, which stands out when I start reflecting on so many agents, challenges in listings. In fact, there is only one challenge that we all face, besides the couples divorcing and having a bit of a dispute. Besides, maybe half the house is sinking. These are outside of everybody's control.
Yeah.
But that one area, which is inside of your control, and if you are that yes man agent who just says yes to everything, you'll fall into this hole, is price.
Yeah.
Price is absolutely key. If you go in with any particular listing and it's incorrectly priced, it does give you lots of challenges. You don't get buyers, and your seller thinks, well, you're not doing your work. And when you do get buyers, the buyers are going, I'm going to give you an offer, but it's what I feel it's the true value is. And your seller goes, that's ridiculous. Don't insult me with that offer. And these are the challenges that we actually face. So I'm glad that you brought up the CMA and that you don't like doing it, because it's lots of hard work. And that's exactly what it is being an entrepreneur. There are these elements, but we have those tools that you can leverage to help you to get those particular outcomes. And when you become prepared, plan and prepared for a particular seller's presentation, I can almost assure you 95% of all the challenges that you're going to face will actually be dissipated. And you'll actually find that it's going to be so much easier. Now, I know you've had great listings and you've had some great experience, and agents out there, they start to notice this. They start to going, hey, Ash, I remember I used to work with you at the franchise, and I remember you when you were at the solo running your indie agency and all of these things. And now you're with eXp. And your success seems to be growing even more because, we're noticing the way you're presenting yourself is elevating to another level. How often are you getting agents on the outside going, you know what, Ash, I'm thinking that maybe I'm going to follow in your footsteps. The traditional franchise is not working for me. The independence, I'm doing more paperwork than actually making money.
Yeah.
How often are you starting to get these agents that you collaborate with starting to ask you questions of, you did it, maybe I should do it? Is this something that happens on a regular basis?
Yes. So I've just had people join my team, and I've had a lot of organic growth. So one of the things that appealed to me when I joined eXp was the revenue share. I'm a long-term player, which means I'm very realistic with my strategy, with how I go about doing things to fit into my lifestyle. But I'm so excited at the opportunities that eXp presents. Guys, we don't know what we are sitting on. Trust me. It's just huge. And agents need real solutions. And I can tell you, the people that have interacted with me are my peers who I can identify with because I was in their shoes, been there, done it, and they're coming to me. So there are people in my team right now who weren't working with me. I'll give you two examples. So one chap that wasn't working with me, he's just a peer in the industry, and he's very with it. So he keeps an eye on everything. And he earmarked me. He saw I was active. He liked my mannerisms, or just, again, you touched on authenticity. I believe in being trustworthy and being someone that is real with people. So he saw that, the way I was dealing, and he said, okay, I'm going to speak to this woman because I keep seeing eXp popping up on the radar and she's attached. So we just got the conversation started, and I was able to answer real questions that he had and be solution orientated for him. Because I believe in this brand, I believe that it does answer what agents' needs are in multiple ways. And so because I'm passionate, it's infectious. And when I talk to these agents, they can't help but get excited. And then they give me their nose and their butts like, but it's those fear statements. And then I can counteract it by repositioning it, by saying to them, yeah, I felt like that too, but you can have a look, think of it like this, look at this angle. This is what it can do for you. I think a lot of agents are limited in their thinking. They think this is the only way, this franchise model, and we're going to exchange time for money for all the rest of our lives. And when we're 90, we're going to be hitting our boards into the sides of the road. You don't have to think like that. eXp is giving agents an exit strategy, and they're teaching agents to think like investors. And I'm passionate about helping people think like that. I had another agent who worked very closely with me and who saw my character back then didn't actually get a chance to interact with me in the way she's doing so now. So I was more like a boss back then, and not on the ground. And now I have an opportunity to mentor her in a bit and be a support to her. And I'm pulling her into the applications and empowering her and showing her she can do it. Because anyone can do this. I think your biggest block in life is your mindset. It's your heart attitude. If you come into this business knowing what you need and that there's a solution for you, you can outsource your weaknesses and you can always learn new skills. That stuff's easy. So yep, I've had quite a few people approach me, people who are green, and then people who know what they're doing. And I feel like they can teach me something. And I'm so excited when they join because we can learn from each other.
Absolutely. And something that's so authentic that you shared with me, agent attraction isn't about forcing a brand down somebody's throat and saying to them, it is the best thing since sliced cheese. But you still got to learn how to unwrap the sliced cheese. When we start to force these things down agents' throats, that's when they actually close up.
Yeah.
But your authentic nature of going, I will speak at the point that you're interested. And you're doing that through showing your level of productivity. Being a cap agent, you going out there, you're doing what you do best, which is selling properties, building relationships with your clients. And that is starting to evolve over time where people start to notice that. And that becomes one of the key factors when we're looking at attracting agents into your particular team. They want to work with people that's at a high level of productivity. They want to work with people that's authentic. They want to work with people that's willing to collaborate. And this is something that is absolutely key. And I think, Ash, you nail on the head on every single one of those particular areas. Hence, you're becoming an authentic cap agent that is just seeing the future of your business, because it's not only just for you, it's also for your family. Yeah. And this is where I want to really take this. I want to become more onto the personal side of Ash, because yes, we're running the business, but why are you doing this? And I'm glad that you brought it a little bit earlier and are actually adding this in there. Why are you doing all of this? I mean, you could go and take a lotto ticket and maybe win the lotto. You could maybe just, run another business. Why are you doing this? What's that personal reason?
Okay. So I obviously have faith as my cornerstone. And if people know me, they'll know that, because I don't hide it. Hence why I told you I did Charis Bible College, and I was busy with that while I was doing real estate, because I personally believe we're all put here for a reason. So my reason is to change lives. Because what's the point of coming to work each day and you clock in and you clock out like a robot? And, at some point, I think everyone has this existential crisis and they ask themselves, what is the greater meaning of life? Why am I working so hard? What am I doing? Why am I building these empires if it's just for me and my little nucleus here? I think that impact and legacy is what people hanker after, but it's bigger than that. My calling is to set the captives free. It is to help people find their purpose in life and not to be stuck, and to believe that they have a God-given calling, because they do. I believe even today I was reminded by this amazing call that I was on this morning, and I was reminded that I get the privilege. It's such an honor. I feel like eXp just blessed me with the honor of being able to be one of the panelists at the eXp conference next week. And we get the chance to bring the love of God and the light into this world. We get to stand up there on stage and to tell people that actually there's something deeper and more meaningful behind the work that they do, and you can really impact lives. So for me, this is kingdom work for me. That's my why. And it's also to be a help to my family. Life is tough for lots of people. So my husband's had various challenges with his health over the years, but God's made me a capable human being. And as long as I have breath in my lungs, I can contribute. And I've always been investment minded. So my why is my family, and then building out from there is the greater community and the kingdom around me. How can I help people? Because one day when we are on our deathbed, we're not going to ask ourselves how much is left in our bank account. We're going to look at the people around us and we're going to say, did we make an impact? Did we touch lives? And I believe eXp is perfectly positioned that even if we're looking at the numbers, we're looking at the commerce, the business side of it, but we are in the business of people and touching lives. And now we're globally connected and we can do that. So that's very powerful.
Absolutely. Well, this is the authentic Ash. This is pulling back the curtain, introducing you to, believe it or not, a human being, not a robot who can achieve it. And there is no difference between Ash and you. So Ash, before we actually close up on the session, have you only got any final thoughts, words, or comments to lead us out?
Sure. So Medi, what do I say? It's really lovely getting to know the eXp family, because it's a family about collaborating. And when I joined eXp, I was given a mandate. I felt like God said to me, do it together. If you want to go far, hold hands and do it together. So I'm actually working in a team right now with a business partner, and I've given myself a double challenge this year, because now I need to make double the amount to cap again. But it's exciting because now I'm leveraging everything that eXp has to offer, and I'm embracing collaboration on so many levels. So I would say that, guys, embrace everything that eXp has for you. Don't get overwhelmed. Lean on each other, because we can continually learn from each other. And eXp has got an amazing sharing culture. Don't lose sight of that.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm a big person when it comes to collaborations, sharing the knowledge and really opening up that suitcase and everything inside. Guys, have a look. That's what Ashleigh has done for us today. So I want to thank all of you for coming into this particular session. We're going to jump into a Q&A, because I'm pretty sure that you might have a question for Ash before we close up. So just to say a huge thank you for Ash for coming into this particular session. And I cannot wait to actually have a future chat with you. So let's jump into some Q&A. If you've got any questions, please do pop it into the chat box or put your hand up, and we can then open up. The mics are open for you to go through. So there was a nice little message that came through from Melanie. Ash, you've touched on so many things that I did out of desperation as a new agent. Thank you, and in capital letters, so much for being so real and letting us know what the pitfalls are that makes it easy to fall into. And that's exactly why we do these particular sessions, so that you can actually go through. Ismay says, love your advice on not just being a yes agent. Guys, the shortest sentence in the world is no.
Yeah.
Proven. It is definitely. So a big thank you on your authenticity there. No questions. Just want to say, Ash, your energy is infectious. This is exactly how I felt when joining. So that's the reason why we started out these particular sessions, these agent-led sessions. As you can see, I actually hope that the agents pull back the curtains, and I think Ash did that exactly. She pulled back the curtains. She allowed you into her personal space and actually shared all this information. Ash, again, I want to thank you so much for accepting the invitation and coming into this particular session. And you're in Cape Town next week as well?
Yes. Yeah, I will be there. See you.
Fantastic. So for all of you in Cape Town, please make sure that you reach out to Ash. Go and take a selfie. Go and say hi. Ash, you're going to get lots of pictures, and you're going to get some really, really tight muscles on the cheeks. She's also got a very infectious laugh and smile as well. So definitely go out and have a look. So from myself, Stuart, I want to thank all of you for coming into this particular session. Do look out. We've got more CAP agents and icon agents coming up. So I look forward to those sessions. So from myself, Stuart, it's cheers for now.